state regime media known as Fox was in a total meltdown mode. They brought on Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she went on live on Fox, and she was like, if you are a printing store and you refuse to print out photographs of Charlie Kirk, we are coming for you, printing stores. Here, watch this.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But Sean,
And by the way, these MAGA Republicans may want to recall the precedent that they created with our right-wing Supreme Court, where now the Supreme Court said that if you are a private business, if you have, any kind of good faith basis, whether it's in religion or otherwise, you can not take like wedding photographs of gay people. You don't have to make wedding cakes for gay people. But let me get this straight. The MAGA Republicans are like, you can discriminate against gay people if you cite religion, but now you have to print out photographs to celebrate Charlie Kirk if you're asked to do that, and you can't turn that down if you're a private business owner. Okay. Then you have state regime media host Brian Kilmeade say, I wrongly said homeless people should get lethal injections. I apologize for that callous remark. So that's it. You just go on air and say that homeless people should die by lethal injections, by involuntary lethal injections. And then you get to, I'm sorry, I called for their deaths. But let's move on and talk about how if you own a printer, if you're a printing company, you must print Charlie Kirk celebrations. Here, play this clip of Killed Me.
And it actually happened when we were together on Wednesday, Lawrence. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion. Lawrence, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, more Fox on the weekend.
So utterly ridiculous right there. Then they have their chief propagandist, Jesse Waters, say the following. You don't deserve to be able to say critical things about Charlie Kirk and have no penalty. We will inflict costs on you, social costs, financial costs. We will shame and excommunicate and banish you. Remember when these people pretended to care about free speech? Here, play this clip.
We're like, oh yeah, I disagree on the border. This is like my guy just got shot in the neck and you guys are cheering. You're going to a vigil and you're dancing on the guy's grave. You don't deserve to be able to say that and then have no penalty. There will be costs. There'll be social costs, financial costs. We will shame, excommunicate them, banish them. And that is a promise. And until then, game on.
And by the way, all these MAGA leaders and MAGA influencers, they're going around and they're like looking at people's LinkedIn, like they looked at like Apple LinkedIn, whatever the company is, and then they'll see like if there's any employee who's directly quoting Charlie Kirk or saying critical things, then they'll dox them, they'll put their photo and their name, demand that people call the companies and ask that you be fired if you say critical things about Charlie Kirk, often just citing what Charlie Kirk said about black people or about Biden or about women, about consent, about LGBTQ, about trans people, and like, how dare you say this? You need to be fired. And the companies are like firing and purging people. Many were just quoting what Charlie Kirk is saying. Wait, then you have Kash Patel, the loser FBI director, saying, look, we handled this great, the investigation into Charlie Kirk's killer, even though we got it wrong twice publicly and I had to issue retractions, even though I was at Rayo's enjoying a 5-star Italian meal and was saying who the wrong shooter was. Patel's like, the Boston Marathon killers and the Luigi Mangione case, that took more days than this took, so we deserve an award. Here, play this clip.
Sean, my expectation is to deliver to the mission and the resources the men and women of the FBI need and to produce. And that's what we did here. When you're talking about things like going out to a crime scene, that's how you investigate that matter properly. And when you're talking about why did it take 33 hours? Well, I made the operational decision to immediately release enhanced videos and photographs of the suspect because the operational call that I made for the FBI said we are about to smoke this guy out, and his family and friends and his internal network is going to assist it. And this is the operation I want to highlight in terms of transparency. The FBI is traditionally an organization that has not been transparent. My mission to the American public, as I said in my confirmation here, I am going to work with you to make this organization as transparent as possible, including during investigations, so that we restore trust in the FBI and the integrity of the FBI that was jettisoned away by the fools that weaponized it. And when I said that, I meant it, and you saw it in action, and no one should be criticizing anyone but me if they got a problem with it. The men and women of the FBI handled this brilliantly. And as you said, Boston and the Luigi Mangione case happened in downtown metropolises with thousands of people around, and it still took them 5 days. So if you got a criticism, make a fair criticism and bring it to my feet. And I promise you the men and women of the FBI will respond like we did in this manhunt for Charlie Kirk's assassin.
Then you have this arrogant, horrible Greg Gutfeld says, why do we don't need more information about the killer of Charlie Kirk. What's interesting here is, why does this only happen on the left and not the right? Which is total BS. 75-80% of these shootings and acts of violence come from right-wing extremism, not from the vast majority. It's from right-wing extremism. And this guy, this 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, came from a white Utah Trump gun-toting family. And now they blame it. He took one semester online during COVID. It was an online class from Utah State University that radicalized him, or what? He went to a electrical technical school that radicalized him to become a left. Here, watch this. Let's play it.
It wasn't school indoctrination. Kerry Lake went off on that. He was in an online apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College, which I don't think was changed.
I would just know
I
the
understand,
family
but
said
they didn't say
changed.
when he changed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we need more
He articulated
information
his
before
hate
you
for Charlie
smear.
Kirk at a dinner.
Before you
We
smear.
don't need more information.
Really?
Yes, we
Okay.
don't need it. What is interesting here is, why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need
It's-
to know.
what about Van
There's
Stoker?
absolutely no cognitive.
What about Melissa Hortman that we just
okay, you want to
talked
talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is, there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your. What about this? The fact of the matter is, the both sides argument not only doesn't fly, we don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead.
Then you have, again, this is what Fox is pushing. They're pushing hate and divisiveness over and over again, right? Like on this network, as we're saying, we need to have empathy. Let's come together. On Fox, they have Lara Trump, because it's state regime media, so you got to hire the Trumps. And then Lara Trump, who has her own show on Fox, she goes, if I were the head of the Democratic Party, I would come out now and say, we don't have any accountability for where we have led this country. Okay, Republicans control the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the executive branch right now. This is so deeply unserious, Lara Trump. Here, play this clip.
I came in and I accelerated that process.
So in the 24 hours after, when we were still looking for the guy, I know you posted that we got him. And that ended up not being true. You took some incoming because of that. What led to you posting that? Why did you feel so certain about it? And what do you have to say about the criticism?
No, I appreciate this opportunity. Look, as I stated, I was being transparent with working with the public on our findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not. I was telling the world what the FBI was doing as we were doing, and I'm continuing to do that. And I challenge anyone out there to find a director that has been more transparent and more willing to work the media on high-profile cases or any case. The FBI.
And then Kash Patel says that Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson, left behind a manifesto that was destroyed, but the FBI can forensically prove its existence. The FBI is going to redo the manifesto. Let me guess. is going to say that he was trans, or that he had a trans lover, or that the bullets were trans, or you're going to blame it on the trans community again, because you start with the false premise that it's trans motivated and trans ideology, when in fact the profile of the shooter, internet addicted, lost 22-year-old white men, tends to be the profile. Here, play this clip.
So I'll take those in reverse. The charging decisions are up to our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, who have been wonderful providing resources during this entire process, and we'll let them speak to any charging decisions. But we, the FBI, are investigating. As I said, our investigation is ongoing. We're interviewing dozens and dozens of suspects, subjects, witnesses, and the like, and continuing to examine forensic information, including cell phone data and DNA analyses. And once we make those findings handed over to our partners, as we're doing in real time, they'll make those decisions. And I'm sorry, Brian, I forgot your other question.
You had a written note. Did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say? If you could.
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed it partially earlier. Is that the written note we believe what did exist. And we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
So, Mr. Director.
And again, this is what they push over and over again. You have Republican Congress member Michael Rulli. Here, play this clip.
You feel this is going to bring us together? Because it's uncertain when you look at some of this reaction from some of these deep liberals.
Well, Anna and I have been talking, and I'm going to put focus on the opposition, the Democratic Party. You can't use this rhetoric about us all day long, where you call us Nazis, you call us monsters, you call us all these different words that are just horrific, and they drive people to insanity. There is not one person in the Republican Party that is in Congress right now that hasn't had a death threat. I've had a dozen this year. Your rhetoric needs to be toned down. You need to lower the temperature. When Joe Biden was in office, we listened, we watched, and we spoke, but we spoke fluently, and we didn't speak with this hate, and we didn't speak with these words that were drawing people to take action against us. You tried to kill our president twice. You actually killed Charlie. Enough is enough. Stop the shenanigans and lower this rhetoric to a normal place where we could all exist together.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable how, they've politicized and weaponized politics. I mean, it's incredible.
You have the MAGA Republican Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tries to weaponize the killing of Charlie Kirk and say, but you know what Charlie told me before he died? His last words to me were, Trump, go after the governors. Go after the Democratic governors and the mayor. So we're going to invade Democratic cities because that's what Charlie would have wanted, for us to go after the Democratic cities. We're doing this in your honor. We're going to invade Democratic cities. I mean, you're just using Charlie Kirk's death now to say we've invade Democratic cities? Shameful. Shameful stuff. Here, play this clip.
And of course, we worry about adversaries, China sending hundreds of thousands of people into the country because of the open border, Russia, the same thing. What can you tell us about the bigger worry? Are you worried more about adversaries trying to unseat America as the #1 superpower, or the enemy within, Americans who are turning against their fellow citizens?
Oh gosh, Maria, you are exactly right. So we talk a lot about cartels and known and suspected terrorists and gang organizations, but the fact is that those evil foreign governments that have sought to take us down for decades and decades, such as China, they infiltrated our country too. They crossed those borders under the Biden policies that opened us up and made us so vulnerable for national security threats. So we do have efforts to make sure that we're removing those individuals as well. And listen, we're a nation of laws. We have borders. We enforce those laws now. We will go after every single person that is a criminal alien that needs to be removed for the safety of our future. And that includes not just cartels and not just foreign terrorist organizations. It includes those evil foreign governments who sent people here too.